Well, this episode of Lessons from Last Time is going to be awesome. And Stephanie, our guest today, is one who I have wanted to have on the podcast for a long time. We've tried to get you on the podcast. You live in Denver. And so getting you out here was, you had to be out here for some other reasons, and we're one of them. We had to stack some reasons to get you out here. But this is going to be an amazing conversation. Sadly, I don't have Kirk with me. He's actually on the other side of the wall behind you doing a CE webinar for us. So it's just you and me. Welcome, Stephanie. And when I say your last name, I always go big. I make it French and I go Treusein. So
I love that.
would you like to pronounce your last name so I'm
There are a
not
lot of different
chopping it up? Yeah.
Treusein.
Treusein. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I've been saying it wrong this entire
That's
time.
okay.
Have you heard me say Treusein?
I have, but I love that.
Okay, good.
That
Then I'm
sounds
going to
very
keep
French,
doing it. Okay,
doesn't it?
awesome. Well, we had 𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗇𝗏 in here, and
Right.
I introduced him to you earlier. So I do love making things into French names.
Right.
You're nervous today.
I am nervous. I'm trying not to be. I'm trying not to be, but I'm nervous.
It's okay. The funny thing that people listening don't know is that when you came here, you've listened to our podcast, but you've never knew it was on video. So it can be seen in the Knowledge Coop, in Knowledge Coop Plus. It can also be seen on YouTube. But since you didn't know it was on video, you're like, oh my gosh, I would have done things differently. Like, I didn't mean to mess with you with this, but you look fine. You look great. And those of you listening can also tune in and watch this. But
Thank you.
okay, so we know each other from the mortgage industry.
Mhm.
Our great friend 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀, I think, was our first introduction.
Yep.
And that's when you were at Cherry Creek. But I want to go back because you've got an amazing story that we're going to talk through. But I want to go back to the very beginning because when we were in the other room, I introduced you to Kirk, and you had mentioned that you grew up in Holland. So you're from Holland.
I'm originally from Denver, so I am
Oh,
a native
okay.
of Denver. I'm a Denverite, but my parents divorced when I was 14,
Oh,
and
wow.
my mom is from Holland.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny, somebody asked me, why is it the Netherlands or Holland? Like, can you do both? And you can do both.
Okay.
Either one.
Uh-huh.
So she wanted to move me back there so that I could grow up with her family back there.
Whoa.
So I finished high school and college over there when I was 14.
Oh, my gosh. Do you have siblings?
I have two older brothers, so
Okay.
she waited until my brothers were out of high school before she decided to divorce my dad. My dad was a severe alcoholic,
Oh,
very
no.
abusive. When he was drinking, when he was sober, he was awesome. But
Mm-hmm.
so she stayed with him for 22 years.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And then the boys are gone, and she's like, Stephanie, let's go, and picked you up and took off.
hmm
Wow. So then you didn't see your dad for how long?
You know, it was he. This is, oh wow, you really go
Sorry,
into you go into it, don't you? So my dad, when we left, he went sober and he came to try and make it work out again. So that was after a year.
Came to Holland?
hmm
Wow.
But it didn't work out. So he came back here, and I didn't see him for quite some time. And yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. But yeah, I don't even know how long it was.
I was in a lot of schools. I switched schools most years of my childhood because we moved I lived in 20 houses by 20 or something to that effect, all in the same town. I know what it's like to move from one school to another. What I don't know is what it's like to move from one country to another in an age when girls have got their friends. And I know it's tough to be a teenage girl because I have two girls who went through their teenage years and I got to experience that. It was different back then because there's no social media, but what is that like for a 14-year-old girl to leave Denver and move to Holland?
Well, there's a lot there. They're both sides. There's positive and negatives. So when I went there, I had to learn Dutch. I never spoke Dutch, and I had to go to a Dutch school. And this was the summer, so I had the whole summer where everybody would only speak Dutch to me.
Oh my
they
gosh.
refused to
Just to
speak
be
English.
mean,
Just
like, or
to
to help
no.
you. Were they helping?
They were trying to help me.
Okay.
Because I would have to start school the next couple months in high school. Actually, the hard part was that the American school system, according to them, and it is further behind. And so I had to do the worst grade over again. I had to do eighth grade, which
Oh
was
my
the worst
gosh.
grade ever. I did that retake eighth grade. And
Wow.
so, but anyway, yeah, that in Dutch. So going over there, it's fun because you're popular, the American
Oh
girl. They all
yeah.
want to, they all
Mm-hmm.
want to associate with you. Oh, the American girl, but then they just speak Dutch to you and
And so
screw
you
your
had the
head
like a
over.
full immersion.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Had you heard your mom speak Dutch, back growing up?
Only the curse words.
Nice.
We
Gotcha.
learned those
Which
really
I guess in eighth grade is
early.
probably a good start. Wow. So then
Yeah.
you just kind of built up, made friends when you were there, and wow.
And then when school started, my mom had to translate everything from Dutch to English. So that would history, geography, all of it
Oh my
from
gosh.
Dutch to English for the first 6 months until I learned it. So,
Wow.
so it
And
was a
what
little
was she doing?
stressful.
Was she working at the same time?
Yeah, she was working. She had to go back to work, and
What a powerhouse.
yeah,
So she brings you across the world, helps you, tutors you, translates everything for you while still finding a job, finding a place to.
to live and
Wow.
hmm
How long were you there?
12 years.
So 14 to 26.
Uh-huh.
So what'd you do when you were like, what for employment once you got out of school?
So I went to a school called the European Hospitality Management School of The
Hmm.
Hague, and it was at the time affiliated with Cornell.
Oh,
And
cool.
so it was pretty prestigious to be able to get into that.
Hmm.
And I knew that I wasn't going to go to university. I wasn't kind of that university type of girl. And this was a little bit, I felt would be a lot easier. Not really, but it was. Or it wasn't. It was not easy. But you had to apply. I mean, you had to do a whole series of interviews to get into the school. You had to learn French.
Oh
Um,
gosh. And you just learned
and
Dutch.
yeah, that was a few years before, but I actually ended up, so this is when I'm 18, 19.
Hmm.
So, I ended up going to Switzerland to learn French as an au pair because I thought, well, in Switzerland, they speak French a lot slower than they do in France.
I didn't know
So,
they spoke French in Switzerland.
in the Geneva,
Oh, okay.
and so I went to a little ski resort called 𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗀, which was, yeah,
Sounds
it
awesome.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was awesome.
So you're an au pair in a ski resort. I can think of way worse ways to live.
But I didn't learn any French.
Oh, you didn't? Oh
No.
my gosh.
No. So I came back and learned, I had a tutor and learned French and then got into the school. But then so speaking of work, I had to do a traineeship twice during that time, during the European Hospitality Management School and getting my degree. And so I was the only person, of course, with the American passport. So they
Hmm.
sent me to the States twice. So the second time was in Atlanta, right before the 1996 Olympics.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and so I did my thesis and graduated, and they had me back, and so I worked for Hyatt all during the Olympics.
No way.
Yeah, and
So you were in Atlanta when that was the one where the bomb went off, right?
yeah, we were walking down the street on the way to the park when the
On that
bomb.
street?
Uh huh.
What?
Yeah, that
I
was
love that when you
crazy.
got here, you're like, I don't even know if I have anything to share with anybody. Like, I have kind of a boring life. What?
Yeah, that was crazy. So we heard it, and we ducked into a bar, and then everybody was coming the other way, screaming up the street, and ducked into the same bar. So it was pretty frightening.
Wow. Can you still remember what it's like to be standing right there? And I mean, they say time slows down in your head and your brain basically activates and records everything.
Yeah. Well, you just remember that it was in the evening, it was dark, and just the sound, and then the sound of screams, and
Oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah, times to stand still for sure
Yeah.
on certain things like that.
And you're there on a hospitality working for the Hyatt
Hmm.
and just happen to be on that same street at the
Yeah,
same time. Jeez.
yeah.
Well,
I,
okay, so how long were you in Georgia? Did they move you there or were you
so I graduated. I decided that if I was going to what should I do? Should I stay in the States or should I go back to Holland? And I decided I really missed the United States, but I didn't want to stay in Georgia. Um,
fair?
so I moved. I got a transfer from the Hyatt Atlanta Peachtree to Denver Hyatt
Oh, wow.
downtown. So I came back to
Did
my
you
home
have
state.
friends still in Denver that you
Yeah,
kept in touch with?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So
Moved in
that's
with
how
my
you end up
brother.
back in Denver.
Hmm. And so I took the job as a front office manager at the Hyatt there, and it was five 4 other women. So the 5 of us were all front office managers.
Wow.
And it was, I was the low man on the totem pole. So I had to do all the, all the write-ups and, be the police.
Is that on the 16th Street Mall?
That was 17th and Welton.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was at 16th and Glenarm at Marlowe's.
At Marlowe's,
Yeah.
yes. I remember we
Probably
talked
not
about
the same
that.
time, but
No, I think it
was
may
it
have
really?
been. This
That
was
was
in
95.
Okay, so this is 96.
Oh wow, so I was 95 to 98. So
Oh yeah, so I'm sure.
I've always said when I go to heaven, I want to ask God to show me all the times that I met people before or I walked by somebody before I met them, because we
wow.
had to have
Oh.
crossed paths. You were probably at happy hour drinking a Big Nose Stout.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, that's crazy. So we're there at the same time. You're in hotels. I'm in bartending. So we're both in the same line of work at the same time.
Like 2 blocks or 3 blocks from one
Yeah,
another.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So how do you get from there into mortgage?
So I decided that I didn't want to be the disciplinarian or the bad guy anymore. And I went and applied for an ad out of the paper for a company called Promotional Industries because I wanted to try sales.
Okay.
And the high didn't have a room for sales at that point for anyone. So I went and answered the ad and walked into this room. I remember walking into this room, and in another room, there were a bunch of people screaming. And I'm like, oh.
Good screams?
Well, it was really this. It was, hey, how you all doing? And the answer was, fantastic, terrific, great. Oh yeah, juice, bubba, baby. I feel wonderful. Right on juice. And you're like, oh my God, what have I walked into?
Wow.
Yeah, I still remember. I mean, yeah, that was so I almost walked out. Somebody caught me and said, no, you need to come back in here. And it was selling ski passes for Ski Cooper, door to door, business to business.
Wow.
And so I tried that, and eventually 6 months later walked in the back of door of a mortgage company. Yeah.
No way. I got to tell you, I probably would have taken an interview with Promotional Industries before I knew that sounds like a telemarketing company or somebody that's tough sales.
Yeah.
So were you successful at that?
So, it was the number one rule in sales was make a friend. And I was really good at making friends.
Yeah.
And so that was it. It was so much fun.
Wow.
I went into the airport at DAA. I had a really nice suit on. I looked like a flight attendant.
Okay.
And I got someone to bring me down to where all the guys were on the tarmac, and sold ski passes for a full week one time. Just
no way.
And then the security got wind of it. And
wait,
asked me
you
to
got
leave.
down there without permission? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. So this is
before 2000.
1997.
Okay, gotcha. Wow, a lot more open door policy back then. You're just rolling through the tarmac selling ski passes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was a lot of fun. So
that
I had
takes
a lot of fun.
guts.
It just takes having fun.
Oh my God.
and just talking to the right person. So,
Wow. What's Cooper?
Ski Cooper?
Yeah.
That is the ski area that has like maybe 3 or 4 lifts behind Copper.
Oh yeah, I used to ski Copper all the time.
Everybody knows Copper, but you
Yeah.
always had to explain, no, this is Ski Cooper. We're on the other side.
Oh no. You're like, it must be a misprint. This is Copper Mountain. Pay for it. No refunds. Wow. So you're doing that. You walk into a mortgage company. Little did you know how much money was in mortgage at the time. But
Right.
what year are we talking about here?
So this is 97.
Okay.
And walk in the back door. And of course, you walk in the front door and you've got the gatekeeper, right? So you never walk in the front door.
You're a criminal. You're breaking in back rooms, walking through tarmacs, just
kind of knowing the
wow.
way. I don't know.
This is like Catch Me If You Can from Frank Abagnale. Like it's definitely okay. So you're borderline criminal. You walk in the back door of a mortgage company.
That's so unfair. And I ran into this. He looked like he was 7 feet tall. This guy, and he goes, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I got the van out back. We gotta go. Where's everybody? We're gonna go skiing. We gotta go. We gotta go." And he just looks at me and he said, "No, you have to come back to the office with me." I'm like, "Oh, no, I really have people to go see and places to go, so I'll just be on my way." And he said, "No." So we talked for a little while, and he goes, "I would like you to be a
Wait,
loan
so you were
officer."
caught? Like, did you feel caught at this point? Like,
I felt
we're gonna
caught.
go sit down like the principal's office.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But he was really nice. I don't even remember his name anymore. He was the divisional vice president at the time. He was visiting from Mortgage Plus or First Plus Financial.
Mm-hmm.
125 loans.
Yeah, I remember that. They closed First Plus by pulling the fire alarm.
Yeah.
And then everybody went outside and they're like, we'll
Like,
send you all your personal effects.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Locked everybody up.
Jeez.
So he said, well, I'd like you to be a loan officer. And I said, well, what is a loan officer? Because I have no clue. I lived in Holland they have a different way of doing that. So he said, well, we close mortgages. We originate and close mortgages. I'm like, okay, well, does it have benefits? Because I don't have benefits right now. And so day one.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you just started up right there doing loans.
Doing loans, 125 loans, Section 32, 10 points.
Oh my gosh.
Second mortgages. Yeah, didn't have a clue what I was doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is way more shady than professional industries, promotional industries. Wow.
Yeah.
And so when it's funny, 'cause I did a lot of subprime loans back then. I don't say that a lot. I was at Option One and H&R Block Mortgage before that. But when you're new in the business, you kind of just get the training they give you, if any, and then you go sell what they've told you to sell, but you don't know that that's not typical for that there's something better out there for people. So did they have like a call center or something, or did they have
So there was a call center, but I wasn't in the call center. I was in the main office right below underwriting. So I would sneak up to underwriting all the time and talk to underwriters and tell them that they needed to approve my loans.
Yeah. And you're just making friends, so that probably worked for you quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. How do you go from there to recruiting? Because when I met you, you were recruiting.
Yeah.
So take me down that path to get to.
So, First Plus didn't last very long. I was there for 6 months before those doors did close. And
you were working there when they actually shut it down? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was, but in that time, I was already, obviously figuring out I was turning people upside down on their homes, and this was not a good thing. And I'd already been looking for something different and had met a guy by the name of Sam. Well, they were a son and father run company. I said that wrong, but Sam and 𝗟𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀, they had a broker shop over on Mississippi in Colorado in the Darth Vader looking building.
Yeah.
And I had sold ski passes in there in that office. But they said, hey, why don't you come over here? And it's just, a very small amount of us. I think it was maybe 5 at that time. They had just come out of a shoe closet or a coat closet, actually, in a different building, and they had moved into a bigger space and learned how to broker loans.
Wow.
And so that's that. And then the owner, so Eric, decided he wanted his lifelong dream was to climb Mount Everest. And so he got an opportunity to take all the money and go do that and fund his trip to Everest. And then at that time we couldn't, this is after 5 or 6 years, no, 7 years. So I was there from 98 to 2006.
Wow.
So,
right before the crash.
Yeah.
He took his money off the table in 06? Wow. Winner.
So, well,
Who
he
knew?
didn't take the money.
Jeez.
He took, well, that's a way of saying it, but that wasn't really exactly how it happened. But it does,
But he didn't stay to do loans in the toughest times, 07, 08, 09, some of the rougher times in the industry.
Yeah, no. So that's when I went into subprime. I actually sold Option One loans. I ran a warehouse line through this company too.
Yeah.
And so we funneled all those loans through our warehouse and then sold them to Option One.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've been all around all these, different parts of the mortgage company. And then when did you get to Cherry Creek?
So then, sorry, this is becoming a long story.
Oh, yeah.
Then at that time, there was no more money. When Eric left, there was no more money left in the company. So we had to let everybody go. And I ended up going to First Franklin.
Oh, nice.
So I was a wholesale rep at First Franklin. And then, of course, 2007.
80/20s like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you in a leadership position when you had to let everybody go?
We didn't have the names or the titles. But the original five of us, were probably the ones that remained after everybody. Like we grew that from 5 to about 40 in 2 different branches. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. Work hard, play hard.
So then you wind it down, you get right back on your feet, run over to First Franklin, start AEing for them. This is also what, '07?
Yeah, what did I say? 97? No, it's '07.
Yeah, right before their
2007.
Right.
So I was there for a year before that happened, when all that happened, the implodometer.
Oh my gosh. So 3 companies that you started with that ended up closing, not because of your doing, but you were there for the ride. You're there when it closes. It happens again, then it happens again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you roll out
Boy,
of there.
there's a...
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know.
There's one common denominator in all of these. It's the mortgage industry. And then when you go, so then you left there, First Franklin shuts their doors. And then how do you bounce back from that?
So then I have, at that point, I have twin girls who are they just turned 2? Yeah, 2007. And my son was 3. We were just kind of waiting for them to let us go from First Franklin. And I got a call saying, hey, you need to go look at Universal Lending, but let them know that know this guy. Like, well, I don't know that guy. Just tell them you know that guy. They're not going to care. I'm like, okay. So they hired me over at Universal Lending as a wholesale rep. And we did underwriting as well. So they call them community-based underwriters. So went from subprime to the new subprime, which was FHA, which was Universal's forte. So learned
still in wholesale.
Still in wholesale.
Gotcha. So you're building relationships with brokers all over the place. You're in and out of offices. Back then, wholesale reps would actually go into offices and they'd call on all the people and make friends. Basically, another friend-making job.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a company that did not shut down while you were there.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's yeah. So, and then I built a huge relationship with a broker. Well, they were a company out of Chicago, here and built their business in Denver. Built a really built a really nice large branch, and they brokered all of their government to me, to Universal. So I was they were one of the largest brokers for Universal at that time.
Wow.
Not the largest, but one of the largest. And so at some point, that company got bought by a bigger company, G-Rate, and that didn't bode well for them. So then they found another company out of Arizona called Nova Home Loans, and they said, "Well, here, you know all these people, you know all these loan officers, you like to make friends. I want you to come recruit for me."
Wow.
Like, no, nobody likes a recruiter.
Yeah.
They
haven't met you as a recruiter yet, so.
So that's how I started. That was 2011.
Wow.
After 3.5 years with Universal.
If you are watching this podcast and you're in the mortgage industry and you haven't checked out the Knowledge Coop, you definitely need to dive into the Knowledge Coop. In there, you will find content and community that will help you grow as an individual by learning everything there is to know about the mortgage industry. If you think you know everything, just dive in and take some classes, because there's always something more you can learn. To be successful in this business, you've got to continually learn. In addition, if you're a company and you want to teach your people in your own environment, we've got that in the Knowledge Coop Enterprise Services. So reach out to us, check out knowledgecoop.com. Definitely join Coop Plus. Let's get back to the podcast. We always look for themes in this podcast. Like, certain people just kind of, things happen and they react a certain way. And usually themes, they're called themes because they're consistent throughout your life. Like, there's a theme of things happening, right? So I'm already starting to see one where you work really hard, something happens that you didn't control, you figure out a way to bounce back from that, and then you go work really hard, and then something happens out of your control, and for you, is it like a pickup and that's fine, we'll do it differently? Or is there an emotional pounding followed by jumping back up?
Yes, that last part. And I've only really started unpacking that myself in the last couple of years. But I think it goes back to my dad and his alcoholism and coming home and being very violent. And when I remember when I was 5 or 6, I always had a little backpack packed and ready to
Wow.
go because
Yeah.
there was, we.
Since you were 5 or 6?
So then my mom would take us to a shelter to try to avoid my dad
Wow.
and let things calm down for a little bit. So I think it's some kind of survival instinct, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I imagine you learned at an early age that bad stuff happens. And so when it does, your reaction to it then becomes,
Okay, let's go.
let's go figure out what we're going to do to get through. And
Yeah.
wow. So amazing how many things happen to kids that then change the way their trajectory of their life and the way that they handle difficult situations. Because you really have, I mean, the story you just told of just people of going through these jobs, like a lot of people would be like, I guess I'm just going to go, this wasn't made for me or whatever. Or I guess I'm just, I'm just not good enough for the industry, or this is so tiring, but you just never got exhausted. Or if you did, you were just like only for a minute and then okay, let's go find something else. And again, following that theme of let me go find something else where I can make friends, where my gifts and my, the things that I do best, I can go exercise those. So you get into recruiting, which is where we met. You were recruiting. It happens again ish. You end up finding your way into a new company. And now your title isn't recruiting now.
It actually is in my title. It's
Okay.
VP of Recruiting and Strategic Growth.
Okay, cool. And strategic growth. Okay, so you've got the added benefit of planning for strategic growth, still using your gifts. I want to transition into the thing that made me go, you have to be on this. And just so you know, because I can see it already, tears are allowed on the podcast. So I just remember every time I saw you, you were smiling. Every time I saw you, everything was great. I don't remember how I found out what you were dealing with, but it may have been, I think it probably was you. I don't know that anybody told me that you had a health scare, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Where do you want me to start?
The beginning.
The beginning. So I don't know if you know this, but I used to teach kickboxing and strength training. I was
You
a
skipped
instructor.
over all of that. No, I did not know that.
So that was one of my outlets when I turned 42. I had to just do something and get physical. So I did that for a long time. And
At 42,
at 42,
you're like, time to start
12 years
throwing
ago.
some haymakers. Okay.
So in 22, skip forward, I had stopped for a little bit during COVID. Of course, we had to, and then I just kind of got back into it and doing a lot of. I was overdoing it and doing a lot of ab work, and just didn't feel quite right. But I just ignored it because that's what we do.
Ab work, you said?
Ab work, abdominal.
Okay, yeah. I'm not familiar. I probably should do that at some point. I've never had any problems doing too much ab work, so.
Well, you do all those push-ups.
That's true. I've done 33,000 or something push-ups this year. So all right. So I've done a little ab work.
So you just kind of ignore some of the stuff, and you're getting older. I'm in my 50s, and you're thinking, oh well, that I'm probably gonna go into menopause or something.
And things hurt, and you don't investigate everything that hurts. Yeah.
So then I just kind of stopped again for a little bit, a month, and it just persisted. And so my primary healthcare physician decided to drop my husband and I because we were not vaccinated. And he said, I'm not taking care of you anymore.
What?
Yeah. So so I didn't have anyone.
Do that?
I didn't have PCP.
I mean, they did. But
I know.
What?
So I didn't find another one. So my husband's like, well, why don't you go to the urgent care and go see, and maybe you can get a referral to health imaging and get an MRI. And so I did. I went to urgent care, and they said, well, everything looks good. Your urine's good. Your blood's good. Everything looks good. Go ahead and go. We're not going to send you to the ER. So on the way, something else happened and I had to rush home and didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few weeks later, I woke up and sure enough, a huge pain in my front side, on my right side. So I thought, okay, this is maybe appendicitis because it had gone into
Sure.
my
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was looking online in bed, like, okay, is this appendicitis?
Right.
So I turned over to my husband. I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. It's the 17th of December, and we're going to wrap all the presents because if I have to go into surgery, have an appendectomy,
Oh my
we're going to
gosh.
have to be ready for Christmas.
Oh my gosh. You're
So
like, enough about me. I have to make sure these presents are wrapped so nobody has a present that's unwrapped. Okay.
So I said, okay, and as soon as we're done, then you can take me to the ER. So at 3 o'clock, we went to the ER, and I said, and I'm telling the doctor there, I'm like, well, why don't we just do an ultrasound? I don't, I've had a cyst on my ovary before. It's, and he goes, no, we're doing an MRI. I'm sorry, we're doing an MRI. And that's when he came in. After that, the results back was showing the ovarian cancer.
Oh my gosh.
So, but he didn't say that. He said, you need to go see an oncologist, a gynecologic oncologist right away.
So he doesn't come in and tell you what he saw. He just says, I have
Exactly.
this person I want you to talk to.
Yeah.
And you're like, did he say what? Oncologist?
Yeah.
What?
Well, he said there was there calcifications that had spread. It wouldn't be very detailed, but it was very clear that it was cancer.
And what was that like for you?
Shaky. I mean, that's a huge emotional, like there's no cancer in my family other than I think a great aunt had what is it?
Esophageal.
Thank you. And that's it. There's nothing. And so I thought I was that invincible to that.
Right.
That
Right.
cancer's not going to happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize, oh, you're not invincible, and this happened to you. So we told the kids actually right away, and that was a whole nother story. But
how old are they at the time?
18. Yeah. Trying to think.
We had Craig Davis on the
7.
podcast, and I asked him, his daughter was 11 when he was diagnosed, and I asked him what it was like to tell your 11-year-old dad's got cancer. And it was an interesting, I think everybody has a different way of doing that, or a different conversation to be had. But were you in person? I mean,
absolutely. My son wasn't there. It was with my daughters. And I don't remember exactly what we had said, but it was to the effect that there's something going on. We're going to take care of it. Everything's going to be okay. And so, and it was, I mean, right away, right after Christmas, I went to, they were going to schedule me for a full hysterectomy in the 11th of January. And then I went to a different gynecologic oncologist. And she said, no, we're getting you in on the 4th. And we're going to take a look, and we're going to see how bad it is. And then we're going to make decisions. We're not just going to take everything out.
The 4th of January? So this is from December
17th
to the 4th.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, to know that something like that is happening inside of you. It would feel like every day you'd wake up going, I want answers. I want this done. And this goes over 3 weeks.
Well, we didn't have the right doctor the first time. So it was only a week after seeing, so it was right after Christmas that we saw the second doctor, because you can't get in necessarily right away, especially over Christmas. So it was only a week. She said, I've cleared my schedule for next Wednesday. We're going to go and have a look inside you and see what's going on.
Did it feel amazing to have somebody who felt like they knew what they were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was really, it was giving more sense of urgency to it. So, and not saying, well, we're just going to take it all out. We're going to actually, let's see what's going on.
The power of a doctor, just in the way they communicate, in the way they take a patient on. I've heard so many stories of just a doctor who finally gets it and goes, I'm not letting you be pushed around anymore. We're going to get through this. And there's so much power in that.
Yeah.
And you wish they were all like that and that they were all taking their job seriously, and not taking their job seriously, but like really getting passionate. It sounds like you had a passionate doctor that's like, I got you. We're going to get through this.
And we're going to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And the confidence that confidence from her was like, okay, she's got me.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to take care of me.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when we were when I was under, she had told us, oh, well, we're going to go take a look, and then I'm going to go down to the pathologist's office. We're going to, take samples, look at the
Mhm.
samples and see what's going on. But if it's spread, then I'm not going to go through with the surgery. We're going to have to try a different, normal ovarian cancer, if it has spread, what they want to do is try chemo first to shrink
Right.
everything,
Right.
and then go in and do the full and take everything out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while she was in there and they went down to take a look at all the samples, they said, well, this isn't normal ovarian cancer. This is a different, very rare ovarian cancer. And chemo is not going to help this. You're going to have to try and take everything out.
Oh my gosh. So rare, back to the mortgage industry, rare on an appraisal is a horrible thing to see. You don't want rare or unique, nor do you want that with your body.
No.
You want basic,
Let's
everyday.
go. Protocol.
Yeah.
Protocol works.
We got comps. We know how this all works, and as normal as possible. But you find out it's unique or it's rare. And did they give you a name?
It is a low-grade serous ovarian carcinoma, 𝗟𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀.
Did you immediately look it up?
Yes, of course.
I always wonder if people,
Of course.
there are people who don't look stuff up, and I'm like, I'll look it up no matter what. But I also Google, like if my elbows hurt right now, I don't know why. And I would Google elbow pain cancer. Like I'm such a hypochondriac that I always think I've been to the doctor 4 times to have them tell me there's nothing wrong with me for 4 different things.
Oh, wow.
I had a doctor one time tell me I just realized I breathe. I'm like, I'm just short on breath all the time. And he's like, I think you just realized you breathe. And it fixed it. So I'm always thinking I have something horrible. But I love that there's somebody else like me who's like, I will Google the heck out of that thing the second I find out a name.
But you Google and you get all kinds of different stuff. So Googling is not necessarily
No,
great.
it's not great either. But what was your reaction to the Google results?
There was just too much information. What I have is this rare thing that they only just a few years ago decided to separate out from a normal ovarian cancer. Is mine. Then they didn't really have a protocol for mine. But what it is that you think that low grade would mean something really good.
It sounds awesome. Yeah.
Right? It's not as bad.
Like a low grade fever or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But it means that the tumors grow extremely slowly. And so when they grow, when you do chemo only reacts to fast growing tumors in your body as they're growing. It kills out the tumors. It can't kill anything that's not actively growing.
Really?
So that was it.
Yeah.
And then you look at all the YouTube videos. Okay, what have other people done? What have other doctors across the world done in Australia, in Germany? What's the thing? And the only protocol that they know that they don't really actually have successful data from necessarily yet because it hasn't been long enough. You do the hysterectomy and then you do the chemo, no matter what, because there might be fast growing tumors in there. And then we go from there if that doesn't work. So, they found 3 very large, almost baseball-sized tumors, 1 in each ovary and 1 in my uterus, which they catch the one in my uterus in the MRI to begin with. And then there was all these little. It's like somebody took a handful of rice and threw it at my belly, and all these little things went flying. And so they're all across my abdominal wall and my intestinal wall. So they can't do radiation because they'll poke holes where they shouldn't be poking holes. And so so through the chemo, they said, okay, so we did chemo. We did 3 rounds of chemo, actually. And on the 3rd round, the United States of America ran out of the half of the chemo treatment specific to ovarian cancer, which is carboplatin. You couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh my
My
gosh.
gynecologic oncologist was like, Stephanie, we can't get it. It just doesn't have, we don't have it.
No way.
Like, well, what about all the other thousands of women who have ovarian
Right.
cancer and that need treatment? Like, that's ridiculous.
Did you immediately think about my training about the dark web
Yes,
and think, I bet
yes.
I could go buy some
I
of
was
this
thinking
stuff?
of you. Yes. Um, so anyway, the chemo wasn't working anyway, so we just stopped right then, and my hair had already, gone away, and then we tried a breast cancer treatment for me, which was a estrogen blocker because I have estrogen receptors. Oh, this is a lot of detailed information.
It's your story. I mean, I can't imagine.
So we tried that. It didn't
So
quite
you don't have
work.
answers. Like they're just trying things and they're like, we'll just keep figuring this out, but it's rare. So taking shots at it.
So less than 5% of women who get ovarian cancer get this type of cancer.
Wow.
And the statistics, you could go and get scared and hide in a corner. Statistics say that 9% or nine, sorry, nine, yeah, 9% of women who have this cancer will survive past 5 years.
Oh my
But
gosh.
that's statistics, right?
Right.
And they don't have
Right.
long-term data.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so then kind of dealing with that.
Yeah. We were walking back after lunch today. We always walk over to New Seasons together, and I was talking to Marshall in our office, and we were talking about. I mentioned that you were coming in and told a little bit of your story, and he's like, I don't. We're talking about whether or not we would want a doctor to tell us, well, this is what a normal, rate of survival is, or whatever. And he's like, would you want to know, And I said, I think I would want to know so I know what number I have to beat. Like, I'm so competitive that you give me a percentage and I'm like, all right, I'll get into that percentage,
Yeah.
But I think it's different for different people where some people are like, don't tell me because I'm just gonna, battle through and do all this stuff. And so I don't know. I still, I guess I don't know where I stand except for I kind of want to know what I'm battling.
I wanted to know and this is stuff that I got online and it is confirmed with my
Mm-hmm.
oncologist, but I wanted to know because I want to know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Because I keep, a friend of mine said it really well. She said, Steph, I'm going to die from breast cancer. Or I'm going to die, but I'm not going to die from breast cancer. Like,
Wow.
I'm going to die someday, but it's
Yeah.
not going to be from this.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to die someday, but it's not going to be from ovarian cancer.
Yeah. Is that where you got strength when you and from learning from other people? Like it's that lessons from last time piece. Like how did you find your strength through?
I found my strength through my kids, through my husband, my mom. My mom had gone through um, uh, where she was she was paralyzed when I was 9 years old. So she's just a huge pillar of strength, and she walks. Everyone told her she would never walk again. She was in a
Wow.
wheelchair. They said, "No, you're just never gonna walk again." And she said, "F you,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna walk again."
Uh-huh.
And no, you'd never know today. She's gonna be 85 tomorrow.
Oh my
You'd never
gosh.
know. Yeah.
Wow.
So I get and then just having all that. So I am a very personal person. I don't post a lot on
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Facebook.
Here you are
Um,
on a podcast.
and here I am. I know it took me a year, I think, to get
Yeah,
here
it did.
again. Um, so uh, I had a friend. I have a friend. I have a really, really, really great friend, and I had told him, I just started this job. I've only been on it for 6 months. Here I am, diagnosed with ovarian cancer. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they ended up saying, Steph, you work when you can work, because I really wanted to work.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted a
Mm-hmm.
distraction. and rest when you have to rest, and we'll take care of the rest. And so he said, and I told him this, and he said, well, I want to write you in a blog. I want to do, I'm like, oh my God. Okay, what does that mean? What does that look like? So he wrote the blog. It was beautiful. And I said, okay, now I have to announce it, because if your blog comes out, everybody knows, you. So now I've got to announce it on Facebook.
You did this whole thing by yourself without telling anybody what was going on or getting that support from a community or...
Well, so I announced it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then the outpour.
What month was that?
February?
That was of 23. Okay.
Yeah. So I did, and and I was talking to another friend who survived breast cancer, and she said, you do that, you're going to get reactions that you never expected before, and they're going to be good ones, and they're going to be ones that you just like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Have you thought about adding vitamin D to your...
Right.
People just have like the greatest... I try not to do it, but like it comes from a heart of wanting to help, but just maybe go vegetarian. That should be fine.
I did. No, I actually did not go vegetarian, but I did go very, 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 very clean.
So that being vulnerable on Facebook for you, on social media, and telling your story was powerful.
It was very powerful.
Yeah.
And it was more positive powerful than it was negative powerful. It was
Yeah.
amazing how many people just were there for me. And
Yeah.
Just the baskets of blankets and socks
Oh
and
my
lotions
gosh.
and ginger because of the chemo, and just all lip balm and all the beautiful things that people brought to me just because they wanted to show support was amazing.
Yeah. It's so crazy. I didn't used to be as vulnerable as I am now. I am an open book at this point. But it started coming out of COVID and the anxiety and depression I found in COVID. And the more I told the story, the more people would come up and tell me their story, and that something I had said would impact them. And we always tell our kids, like, the only way you get the power back from pain is by sharing it in a way that somebody else can get power from your story. And that if you hadn't gone through it, then that person wouldn't, find that solace or find that power in it. And so the more vulnerable I have become, the more I love watching what it does and how it opens up more people to be vulnerable about their stories, which I guess the podcast is kind of an example of that. But so you go out there, you let people know, you get this amazing outpouring. This is last year. I think I saw you in June last year. And I'm trying to remember the status of it in June. You still didn't.
So June, that's when it was just a month and a half after the chemo stopped. So we didn't know where I was, but I had just started taking the medication.
I remember there was a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, we didn't know what was happening at that point. Yeah.
Wow.
That was an amazing moment that they got me on stage, and Coach gave me his medal, his 27th Boston Marathon medal.
I had to leave. I didn't see this. What happened?
You didn't?
No,
see
I
that?
saw you. Remember, I was going to Avery's graduation.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
And so I had to leave, but I got to at least connect with you before I left. But you went on stage.
So I had no idea that so we were at that rally, our sales rally, and I had I'm in the back talking to Jonathan Roche, I think. Oh gosh, I hope I didn't butcher his name.
I think we can just make you say something different using AI, I'm sure.
And
I would just say Roche. Like, me, I just make everything French. So.
And I'm talking to him in the back. I'd never met him before. I didn't know who he was. And he seemed like this really nice guy. And so he goes up on stage, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go back to my room and hang out. I don't need to be here anymore. It's almost to the end. And he starts, I think it was Ryan Grant up on stage that starts telling my story.
Best looking man in the mortgage industry. The jawline, like the man of
God.
steel. I know. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I have to point that out every time somebody brings up Ryan Grant.
Should I bring a picture of him to
totally
an autograph?
We'll make sure Andy cuts in a picture to the video podcast. So anyway, Ryan Grant's there. Keep going.
Uh, and Coach is up on stage and he says, I give, his mother had cancer, battled cancer. And he said, I give this medal to, once a year to someone who's fighting cancer.
Oh my gosh.
And so, like, what? Who else is here that's fighting cancer?
You're always thinking of others first.
What?
Yeah.
Who? And of course, they sent my name and got me
Wow.
up on stage, and that was very emotional.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And having all those people in the room just clap for me. And
Yeah, it
so
means a
strong.
lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not alone. And that moment is one of those moments where you realize that all those years of making friends kind of works out for you, doesn't it? Jeez.
Wow. Yeah. So
I
great.
just did a video last week from Vail where you were, and I did this video for my I think I was on the patio. Anyway, my video was get out and be around friends. And it was every Friday I do a challenge video. And this last week, my challenge video was get out and be around friends, because that's where power is, right? That's where if you're not there, if you would have just said, I'm sick, I'm staying home, I'm not going to that, you don't get that environment where that energy is, built into you, and where
Right.
you get that feeling of support and that feeling of not being alone and not being on this road by yourself. So huge deal. And I think some people miss out on that by not being around people. And we all deal with pain differently, but
Well,
you went out boldly.
it's so easy to retract and then go into a deep or dark corner or cancer. Fuck, cancer does something to you, obviously, and it takes a piece of you, that like the confidence and the piece of your identity.
How so? Like the confidence piece, because it knocks you down, because it makes you feel vulnerable, or
Yeah, because you're
not invincible.
not invincible,
Wow.
and that you're just, in my eyes, I was less than I wanted to be because I
Wow.
had this.
Something you have no control over. Wow.
But it takes your. This is so stupid. I was telling this to my boss. I said, my hair. I'm gonna try not to pound.
Oh,
my
we're going to
head.
talk about your hair, because you and I talked about this too. Keep going.
My hair has always been my identity. Like
You're the female Samson.
I have always had this.
All of your strength.
Yes, and I've always had just beautiful long hair, and even in high school, in my yearbook, they said it most likely to marry her hair.
Oh my gosh.
And so you lose your hair, you lose your piece of your identity. That was really, really hard. That
Yeah.
was huge.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was in Las Vegas. I saw you at the conference, and we talked a lot about your hair. And I think I might have been making fun of you for being so upset about your hair. I'm like, it's fine. And you're like, no, it's such a big deal. But it's one of those things that it's almost a physical, like you can look at it and be like, that is what cancer's done. And it's almost like it's a battle scar almost.
It is. It's exactly that. It's a battle scar. But I'm so much more than that now.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're getting through it.
Yeah. Getting through it. The estrogen blocker didn't work very well. It did. I still take it because that's the advice of my I'm just gonna say my gynoc. And they gave me, so I now I'm on another medication. It's kind of like a trial, and it's very powerful. It has lots of side effects, and I'm also allergic to it.
Oh gosh.
So
Wow. Other than that, it's great. Like I take it all the time.
But it went, I mean, my in ovarian cancer, you have tumor markers that's called CA-125, and it kind of tells you where you are in the stage and whether the pill is working or not. If it's killing the tumors, you have to be below a 25 to be officially in remission. So I started taking this October a year ago, actually exactly a year ago. And in December of 23, I went from 60 to 18. in 3
Officially in
months.
remission.
And I would, yes, I'm no longer officially in remission again. But I have to keep working. I have to get that, go back to really clean eating. And that's just, and try and get that back down there.
It's a battle you're fighting.
Stuff.
Wow.
So,
How do you're still working your butt off. I mean,
yeah.
your week this week is insane. Your week last week, I know, is insane. Although, is Vail ever too much? I mean, we were sitting there last week. I'm sitting there at that conference going, I think it was between 3 and 5, we had that break to explore Vail. And I used to be, I love talking to people and I love, everything about, being social. And now I don't know if COVID, the pandemic lockdown did this to me or if age is doing this to me, but I kind of need my time. And so we had 2 hours and I literally just started walking and I walked the entire time by myself, just thinking and praying and walking. And I went, this is new, like just wanting time by myself. But I also kind of went, this is work. It really kind of is work, like that we're here calling it work, even though we get the most beautiful place in the world and we get the best people that we get to hang out with and we get these awesome conversations and great information. But so that aside, you're working a lot and traveling a lot. You're on planes a lot. You're just continually just pounding through.
Yes. Another survival thing too. It goes along with I love and I'm very passionate about what I do and who I do it for. But it's also a survival because, of course, when I was going through all my treatment last year, I didn't have a lot of production. And oh gosh.
Yeah, that was a blessing in 23. There weren't a lot of loans to be done, so I had time to deal with this stuff.
Perfect, right?
Yeah.
Timing is everything. But in COVID, when COVID hit in March of 20, my husband of 36, we've been married for 22 years, but he had worked for Hyatt as an executive chef for 36 years, and Hyatt had eliminated his position. So,
oh my gosh,
that was part of a whole. I mean, talk about COVID. That whole 2 years was awful, and then had teenage things where my 16-year-old daughter left the reservation, and so dealing with all of that. But my husband hasn't been able to find what he's passionate about. So okay, I'm the new sugar mama.
Nice.
So it's survival. So working really hard. It's a distraction. It's all kinds of things, all kind of in one ball.
Wow.
String. So so working hard, but I enjoy it, and I have found that just digging in and being persistent but patient has paid off, and we just grew by almost 100 people now.
Wow.
Yeah, so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's a great, incredible group of people.
Yeah.
And now I think just really meditating on bringing the right people to you. And I feel like the universe works in that way, that you get back the energy that you put into it. And so I think that's right now it's coming.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
So I had an interview with Brian Marquez, who was my first friend in 7th grade, moving into a new school district. I had this interview with him because he needed a new liver and eventually got his new liver, and now he's doing great, or a lot better. And I asked him, so, do you not care about traffic anymore now that you've had this perspective? And he's like, I hate traffic. I'm like, oh, okay. So do you have new perspectives? Do you have like a new way of looking at things or thinking about things from this?
Absolutely. I think I've learned to really try and put myself in other people's shoes a lot more than I used to. And you just don't know what somebody else next to you is going through. And so I've always been that strong, let's go, do it, very competitive person. And I've taken a step back and, okay, that's not all that's important. It's really understanding uh, what is that other person seeing through their glasses, and what are they going through. So that for sure. Um, Obviously, life is short, so we don't know how long we have. And
Little Ferris Bueller, stop and smell the roses every now and again.
Yes, very much so. I've always had the rule: if you come into my office, you better have a reason to come into my office. And now it's, come in, let's talk, tell me what's on your mind. Would love to hear it. And so I'm a little bit more open and patient. Hopefully forgiving. I'm working on forgiveness. So
what can, your cancer is specific to women. I know breast cancer is just still so prevalent out there. As a husband, any tips from your husband's way of working through this that you could give to men whose wives get diagnosed?
Wow, that's a great question. Yeah, because it's the entire family that has it.
I've heard that.
I don't just have it. The entire family has it. And so my husband's always been a very patient man anyway. But just grin and nod.
Grin and nod?
Grin and nod.
Yeah.
I think one of the things, the side effects of chemo is a true thing that is, it's that you get a cognitive disorder from chemo. There's a real chemo brain that happens. And so I forget a lot of things. I have to write everything down. I have to memorize stuff because I just sit there and really focus and try and keep it in there, because otherwise I can't. So
I have that without chemo. So we call it ADHD, but
so he's just being very patient. And there's a lot of forgiving on that side too. It can be really frustrating. And it can be hard to watch your wife suffer. That I can't imagine what he doesn't talk about that a lot, but communication. Obviously, communication's important in any relationship, but I think even more so when dealing with this, and showing emotion. And the one rule that we have in our house since this is no one's allowed to say sorry.
Oh, really?
No one is allowed to say sorry. We don't say sorry.
What if you step on somebody's toe on your way through the kitchen?
Yeah, too bad.
Really?
The toe was in the way.
What? No sorries?
No sorries.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why no sorries?
Because you're constantly apologizing for, oh, I'm sorry I did this, or I'm sorry, I didn't see that, or I didn't,
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't remember that.
Wow.
But it's from everybody in the house, right? I'm trying not to rock the boat too much, or being so sensitive to how I feel and how I'm doing, and oh, you can't do that. I'm just normal, and we got to get through this, and it's normal life.
Wow.
No sorries.
Are you able to just disconnect from all of that when you focus on work? Like tonight, you have going to see Steve Scanlon, a mutual friend and podcast guest. Are you able to disconnect from it and just be like, I'm living right now? Like that's good. Good.
Yeah, I really, as much as I enjoy being at home with my family, I really enjoy having a hotel room all to myself, and just that quiet. Like you said, you walk, and I look out the window, and
people don't understand that. Like everybody's like, oh, travel must be really tough on you. And I'm like, I mean, there are tough parts about it, right? But I typically think about the positives. You do get to plan your day. You get to do whatever you want to do. And then Mindy and I never run out of stuff to talk about, because as soon as we run out of stuff, I just travel, and then I come back and we're talking about new stuff. So it is kind of fun to be in that world, and it's not for everybody, but if you can deal with hotels and if you can sleep in a hotel, then it is pretty awesome. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, big couple questions for you.
Okay.
So we always end our podcast with two questions.
Oh, boy.
The first one is, and I know this is going to ring for a lot of people. This is going to be big for people who listen to this, who are going through difficult times. Like I said earlier, you take the power back when you help other people through what they're going through. If somebody wanted to reach out to you after this podcast, is that okay? And how would they get a hold of you?
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely. Do you want me to tell you I can
Sure.
shout out my cell phone number?
Email or whatever. What's the
email.
best way to contact you?
Cell phone.
Okay.
Because I have 25,000 unread emails in
Oh my
my
gosh.
personal email.
Same.
So,
Yeah.
So 720-231-9955.
Awesome. Your last question, and thank you so much for sharing today. This has been super powerful. But your last question, if you went back in time and you found little 10-year-old Stephanie Treusein on the playground, and you would walk up to her and you could give her one piece of advice based on everything you know now, what would you tell her?
Oh, one?
Just one piece of advice that you can tell her.
One. There's so many things that come to mind.
I'm gonna cheat. You can give me more than one. Okay.
But the one thing that just keeps coming into my mind is just live. Just live. Just don't worry about the small stuff. The small stuff doesn't matter. Just enjoy. Do everything in your power to bring joy to your life and be filled with joy. Because
that's awesome.
That heals everything, I think.
We should go get matching tattoos after this.
Okay.
Because my next tattoo I want to get is the 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀𝗀, which is play as loud as you can.
Oh.
In music, it's a symbol.
Yes.
But I love that. I love that live. I try to live by that, find joy in everything and just go out and live. Awesome. All right. Stephanie, you did it. You were all nervous and you crushed this thing. So thank you so much for telling your story and being vulnerable. And we're with you in the battle, and I'll always be here. So I can't wait to see you next time I see you. But of course, you can reach out anytime. And this is super cool.
Well, it was super cool to be a guest here, and I'm so honored that you asked me to do this. So, and it took me a long time too.
It did. It did.
to
So
get here.
Thank you for joining us.